Able to see the screen, right?
Yes, bro.
Okay. So we'll start. Sorry for the delay. And today we are discussing about Raja Vidya, the king of knowledge. And uh, in Bhagavad Gita, this chapter titled as King of Knowledge. And Prabhupada explains about this particular chapter. In this chapter, about the bhakti in detail explained, about the essence of bhakti and the last verse, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. So those details, like in 12th chapter, the application of bhakti, it is explained. But in 9th chapter, details of bhakti, it is explained. So that's why this chapter name is called Raja Vidya. So we'll start in this first. Prabhupada explains about Sri Bhagavan Vacha Idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Yajnatva Mokshase Shubhat. The Supreme Lord said, My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most secret wisdom, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. The opening words of the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita indicate that the Supreme Godhead is speaking. Here, Sri Krishna is referred to as Bhagavan. Bhaga means opulences, and Van means one who possesses. We have some conception of God, but in the Vedic literature, there are definite descriptions and definitions of what is meant by God. And what is meant is described in one word, Bhagavan. Bhagavan possesses all opulences, the totality of knowledge, wealth, power, beauty, fame, and renunciation. When we find someone who possesses these opulences in full, we are to know that he is God. There are many rich, wise, famous, beautiful, and powerful men, but no one man can claim to possess all these opulences. Only Krishna claims to possess them in totality. Prabhupada explains Parashara Muni from Vishnu Purana. There is a quote, Prabhupada quotes in several lectures about that. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yasasa shriyaha jnana vairagyayoshchaiva sannam bhaga itagnam. So, in this verse, Prabhupada gives the definition of God. Next, Prabhupada explains further, Bhoktaram yajnatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutanam jnatva mam shanti prichyati. The sages knowing me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. Prabhupada explains in one lecture, there are many rich men, but nobody can say that I am the richest of all. That is not possible because there is a competition. If I am rich, you are richer than me. Another rich than you, another rich than him. So nobody can say that I am the richest of all. That only God can say. So in this way, being the word God is defined in the dictionary as the supreme being. What is the supreme? That supreme being, the richest, the strongest, the most beautiful, the wisest, the most renounced. So this is what Prabhupada explains. Generally, in this material world, today one will be rich, but tomorrow his position will be changed. There are sometimes because of his past karma, he'll become poorest person also. So nobody can claim in this material world, I am the richest person. Only God can claim that he is the richest of all the people. So next further, here Krishna proclaims that he is the enjoyer of all activities and the proprietor of all planets, Sarvaloka Maheshwara. An individual may possess a large tract of land and he may proud of his ownership, but Krishna claims to possess all planetary systems. There is a particular verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. In 7th canto, Prabhupada explains in Hiranyakashipu pastime, Prabhupada explains about this. In spite of achieving 7.4.19, when we read this translation, we'll understand that this Hiranyakashipu, he conquered all the planets and all the demigods became his servants. So he's like greatest powerful person that time. He achieved everything in his life. But what is happening in his heart, Prabhupada explains in this particular verse, 7.4.19, when we open. There, Prabhupada explains, in spite of achieving the power to control in all directions and in spite of enjoying all types of dear sense gratification as much as possible, Hiranyakashipu was dissatisfied because instead of controlling his senses, he remained their servant. So a person is having everything, but if he thinks that he's the proprietor, he's the enjoyer, he's God, he cannot be peaceful in his life because it is a false assumption. That is what Prabhupada explains. So no one can have peace as long as he thinks I'm the proprietor. Who is capable of claiming proprietorship? Only a few hundred years ago, the Red Indians were considered to be the proprietors of America. Today, we in our turn are claiming that proprietorship. But in 400 or 1,000 years, perhaps someone else will come to claim the same. The land is here, and we come here and falsely claim ourselves to be proprietors of it. This philosophy of false proprietorship is not in line with Vedic injunctions. Sri Ishopanishad states that everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. Isha Vasasya idam sarvam. The truth of this statement is factual, but under illusion, we are thinking that we are the proprietors. In actuality, God owns everything, and therefore he is called the richest. As I explained you before, Prabhupada explains in Prahlad Maharaj pastimes, this Hiranyakashipu conquered everything, literally the demigods, Brahma, Shiva, everybody his servants. And when Hiranyakashipu raises his eyebrow, everybody is too scared. That much power he's having. But still, he is not satisfied. He is not having any peaceful life, because he is claiming that he is God. Next. Of course, there are many men who claim to be God. In India, for instance, at any time, one has no difficulty in finding at least 1 dozen people claiming to be God. But if you ask them if they are the proprietor of everything, they find this difficult to answer. This is a criterion by which we can understand who God is. God is the proprietor of everything, and being so, he must be more powerful than anyone or anything else. When Krishna was personally present on this earth, no one could conquer him. There is no record of his ever having lost a battle. He belonged to a Kshatriya family, and the Kshatriyas are meant to give protection to the weak. As far as his opulence is concerned, he married 16,108 wives. Every wife had her own separate palace, and Krishna expanded himself 16,108 times in order to enjoy them all. This may seem difficult to believe, but it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, and the great sages of India recognize this as scripture and recognize Krishna as God. Here we Here we can understand that Prabhupada explained about the power of God. Krishna is having 16,108 wives, but all the wives are satisfied with him. If you go to the Srimad Bhagavatam, another pastimes explains about the yogic power. Krishna is defined as a Yogishvara. There is a sage called Shaubhara Muni. He's the greatest yogi. He expanded himself into 50. So he married 50 queens from kingdom, and he could expand maximum 50, not more than that. So that is the greatest yogi power. But what is Krishna's power? He's a Yogishvara. He can expand unlimitedly. Next, in the verse of this 9th chapter, by the word Guhyatamam, Sri Krishna intimates that he is imparting the most confidential knowledge to Arjuna. Why is he proclaiming this to Arjuna? It is because Arjuna is anasuya, non-envious. In the material world, if someone is greater than us, we are envious. We are not only envious of one another, but of God. Also, when Krishna says, I am the proprietor, we disbelieve it. But this is not the case with Arjuna, who listens to Krishna without envy. Arjuna does not cavil with Krishna, but agrees with whatever he says. This is his special qualification. And this is the way of understanding Bhagavad Gita. It is not possible to understand what God is by our own mental speculation. We have to hear and we have to accept. In Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, second verse, there we'll find that Paramo Nirmatsarana, any spiritual knowledge can be understood people who are not envious. If a person is envious, of course, Prabhupada says in one lecture, the envious starts, the conditioned soul starts envying Krishna. Then after that, his envious extends to the all other living entities. Because of this envious nature, one cannot understand any Vedic literature. And not only that, Prabhupada explains that who are envious, those people cannot advance in any spiritual knowledge. Envy leads to downfall. There is a very good example for this. In 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we'll find that Durvasa Muni and Ambarisha's pastime, where the king Ambarisha this Durvasa sage got angry on this Ambarish Maharaj, but simply he tolerated. Finally, this Durvasa got punished by Lord Sudarshana Chakra. So even the great sage, he is so envious of other living entities. But a devotee, we can see Ambarisha, he is not at all, even the Durvasa Muni sends to, a demon to kill him. He's not worried about that. At the end, if you read that pastime, Amrish Maharaj prays to Sudarshan Chakra to protect Durvasa Muni. That is the nature of a pure devotee. He never becomes envious of any jiva in Krishna's creation. That is the one of the great quality of a pure devotee. That's why Arjuna is able to understand Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And that's why Krishna is giving this Guhyatamam, this confidential knowledge to him. And there is one nice conversation Prabhupada explains actually why jivas are enviousness. Every conditioned soul is having four characteristics. That is the first one is we are all having imperfect senses. In Sanskrit, it is called Karana Patava. Because of this imperfect senses, we have a tendency to be illusioned. We don't know what is right and what is wrong. Then, what we will do because of this imperfect senses, we are an illusion. When we are an illusion, we don't know what is right and what is wrong. So then we'll commit mistakes. So the conditioned jiva, his normal propensity is that to cover up his mistakes. To cover up his mistakes, what he will do? He will cheat others. Because of this cheating tendency, the conditioned jiva suffers a lot. To cover up his mistakes, he will cheat others. Because of his cheating tendency, he is becoming envious of others. Comparison starts, and slowly he'll fall down starts. Next, because Arjuna is not envious, Krishna speaks this special knowledge to him. This is not only theoretical knowledge, but practical knowledge. Whatever knowledge we receive from Bhagavad Gita should not be taken for sentimentality or fanaticism. The knowledge is both jnana and vijnana, theoretical wisdom and scientific knowledge. If one becomes well versed in this knowledge, liberation is certain. Life in this material world is by nature inauspicious and miserable. Moksha means liberation, and the promise is that by dint of understanding this knowledge, one will attain liberation from all miseries. It is it is important then to understand what Krishna says about this knowledge. Krishna is telling Raja Vidya Raja Gushyam Pavitram Idamuttamam. Pratyak Swagamayam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Avyayam. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. Here, Prabhupada is explaining devotional services joyful, blissful. But people in the conditioned jivas, as his regular nature, he'll practice, and after that he won't get any taste. After some time we will observe, no, people will be telling that I'm not interested, I'm feeling bored. They won't feel any bliss. Why? Because he didn't develop any ruchi for the spiritual science. Anything you take, chanting, reading, hearing. So sometimes people don't have any taste for this. The reason behind this, Prabhupada is explained that is because of his association with the materialistic people. when people start associating more with materialistic people, they will lose taste for the spiritual science or spiritual knowledge, sadhana, hearing, anything you take. So that's why we should be very careful when we're dealing with the people. It's like Prabhupada says that we should be like, the lotus leaf water when we put on that. How it will be? It's not, don't touch, right? So we can see separate. So like that we should behave. So then we will be careful and we will get this knowledge by the mercy of the Lord only. When we are sincere and serious, Lord in the heart, He will guide us how to associate with the people. According to Bhagavad Gita, the topmost knowledge, Rajavidya Rajaguhyam, is Krishna consciousness. Because in Bhagavad Gita, we find that symptom of one who is actually in knowledge is that he has surrendered unto Krishna. As long as we go on speculating about God but do not surrender, it is understood that we have not attained the perfection of knowledge. The perfection of knowledge is Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyat Vasudevah Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. In 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains about this. After many births and deaths, he who is actually knowledge surrenders unto me. Knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is, such a great soul is very rare. In 11th canto, Prabhupada explains in one translation, of course, this quoted in several lectures also, the to get human form of life is very difficult. And in that human form, to to get opportunity to practice Krishna conscious, even more it is difficult. Actually, what is the stage of this condition, Jiva? There is a one nice verse from the scriptures about the condition Jiva, how he behaves. Uh, this is from one Subhashitas. There is a one verse. Markatasya surapanam madhye vrichika damshanam. Tanmadhye bhuta sancharo yadva tadva bhavishyati. Explanation of this verse is Markatasya. Markatasya, we know, is monkey. Surapanam. That monkey taken alcohol. Generally, monkey's condition we know, right? So it will be jumping. It is not calm. It cannot be peaceful at all. It will be jumping. It will be moving here and there. So imagine if that monkey has taken alcohol, then what is the stage of that monkey? Okay, after that further in scriptures explains, Madhye Vrichika Damshanam. One scorpion has bitten that monkey. Then how he will behave? Generally we'll know it's so much pain and they will shout, they will scream. Not only that, it is possessed by a ghost. Then, right, if people are haunted, what and all they will talk, how they will behave, it is very dangerous. This is what the conditioned soul behavior in the material world. Anything may become of a monkey who, while drinking alcohol, is bitten by a scorpion and possessed by a ghost. So our mind is fully disturbed in this material world, right? Because always it is hankering. Sometimes we like one place, sometimes we like some other place, sometimes we like one person, sometimes we don't like that same person. So like that, we are all under the servants of our mind and senses. So to come out of this kind of mentality, we required association. By only association, by only pure devotee association, a conditioned jiva come to the normal stage. As long as we do not surrender, we cannot understand God. Surrender to God may take many births, but if you accept that God is great, it is possible to surrender unto Him immediately. But generally, this is not our position in the material world. We are characteristically envious and consequently think, oh, why should I surrender unto God? I am independent. I shall work independently. Therefore, in order to rectify this misgiving, we have to work for many births. In this regard, the name of Krishna is especially significant. Krish means repetition of birth, and Na means one who checks. Our reputation of birth can be checked only by God. No one can check his reputation of birth and death without the causeless mercy of God. When one starts thinking independently, he doesn't want to listen anyone. That is the first characteristic of the mind. Once the mind starts independently, he never listens anyone because he thinks that I know everything, why I have to hear. So, because of this independent nature, slowly his faith will reduce. Once the faith is reduced, he won't associate with those people. We will see so many cases that once the people become start independently thinking that I'm great, I know everything. So then what will happen immediately? Next offense is that they will lose their faith. Once they lose the faith, what will happen? They won't get any interest on the spiritual subject. When they won't get any interest on the spiritual subject, what will happen? They don't try to hear of any spiritual subject matters. They won't try for that. Then slowly fall down will happen. So that's why in our conditioned stage, we should be always careful. We should always take dependency, Guru, Krishna, and sadhus. We should never and ever think that we are independent. So one who are surrendered, one who are dependent on the God, Krishna, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastras, they will get the complete mercy of Krishna. The subject matter of ninth chapter is Raja Vidya. Raja means king and Vidya means knowledge. In ordinary life, we find one person king in one subject and another is another subject. This knowledge, however, is override over all others, and all other knowledge is subject to relative to it or relative to it. The word Rajaguhyam indicates that this sovereign knowledge is very confidential, and the word pavitra means that is very pure. This knowledge is also uttama. Ut means transcend, and tama means darkness. And that knowledge which surpasses this world and the knowledge of this world is called uttama. It is the knowledge of light, and darkness has been separated from it. If one follows this path of knowledge, he will personally understand how far he is progressed down the path of perfection. Pratyakshavagam dharmyam. Susukam kartam indicates that this knowledge is very happy and joyful to execute. And avyayam indicates that this knowledge is permanent. We may work in this material world for education or riches, but these things are not avyayam. These are all temporary. For as soon as this body is finished, everything else is also finished. With the death, our education, advanced degrees, bank balance, family, everything are all finished. Whatever we are doing in this material world is not eternal. However, this knowledge is not like that. Here, Prabhupada is explaining about the nature of this material world. People will think that, you know, we are, it is like general Indians' nature, they want to work hard some 50 years, 60 years. So they will get some money, they'll put in some bank, and after that, uh, they will go to some Western countries. So they will get some money, they will come back. So their children, after they'll send them to other countries. They'll also make them work like how they worked. So at the end of their life, they will sit in their house. They will be thinking about their family members, children, grandchildren, and life is over. So they never, these kind of nature people means they're pious people. They they wanted to involve in dharma, artha, kama, and very least priority is given to the moksha. So these kind of people, even though they are pious, but they cannot achieve anything in their life. They are pious. Again, they will take birth and again they will continue the same thing. So they they won't get any spiritual benefit. Next verse, Prabhupada explains about that. नेहाभिक्रमनाशोऽस्ति प्रत्यावायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्य अस्य धर्मस्य प्रायते महतो भयात्. The spiritual knowledge, whoever they have taken, the spiritual science, the spiritual method, Krishna conscious, whoever taken, in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. And a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. We'll see in the Narada's previous life only. He served the Vedantis sages, great rishis, and with their permission, he took their remnants. Because of that swalpamapi asya dharmasya, because of the small particles, food particles, and because of their association, so he became a great devotee in his next life. This is the spiritual credit. Whatever we do, it gives immense eternal effect in the future. So knowledge in Krishna conscious is so perfect. Knowledge in Krishna conscious is so perfect that if one performs work in Krishna conscious and yet does not attain perfection in his life, he takes up from whatever he left off. In other words, actions performed in Krishna conscious are durable. On the other hand, material achievements, because they pertain to the body, are vanquished at death. Knowledge that pertains to designations does not endure. I'm thinking that I'm a man or a woman, an American or Indian, a Christian or Hindu. These are all designations pertaining to the body. And when the body is finished, they will be also be finished. We're actually spirit, and therefore our spiritual activities will go with us wherever we go. So Krishna himself is telling about this material world. Dukkalayam ashashvatam. Here, whatever we do, it is all those things are temporary. Even we'll see so many pious people who are doing so many charitable and so many donations to the poor people. Yeah, those are all great things. But what they will achieve at the end, next life, they'll become very rich people, very pious people. So very comfortable life and all they will get. But again, the miseries of life will continue. So that's why Prabhupada is telling that whatever act we do, It is like third chapter in Bhagavad Gita. It is explains that whatever act we do, it should be pleasing to Vishnu or Krishna. Then we are all saved. So we'll stop here. Next session will continue. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki